All right. So this second half is about memory. All right. Do you have any memory that you can think of right now? Like some specific memory, like the day you went to like elementary school, the way you first time drove a car by yourself, the day you were married, the day you got the first job, something like that. Do you have those memories? You do, right? All right. Or your childhood memory, what you used to do with your siblings, or you used to, let's say, like, my memory is that my father used to take me to the ball game. And then I remember I used to have Pepsi Cola and a hot dog, all right, watching the baseball game in the studio, like that kind of memory. Do you have those memories too? That's memory. So everybody has memory, and then it's a function, okay? All right. So we have 3 stages or stores of memory, okay? So 3 memory stores that differ in function, capacity, and duration. Control processes, meaning control movement of information within and between memory stores. So we have sensory memory, that's the first store, memory store. The second one is working or short-term memory, then long-term memory, all right? So the first one is sensory memory. Function holds information long enough to be processed for basic physical characteristics. Okay. Capacity is large, can hold many items at once. But duration is very brief retention of images. Only 0.3 seconds for visual info and only 2 seconds for auditory info. And then we have 2 subtypes, okay? Iconic memory is the visual information, all right? And echoic memory is the auditory information, okay? So visual or iconic memory was discovered by Sperling in 1960. So what did he did was to present it matrix of letters for 1 out of 20 seconds. So it's very brief. And then ask the participants to report as many letters as possible. And participants recall only half of the letters, basically. Because remember, the visual info is only staying for 0.3 seconds. Okay? Auditory info, 2 seconds. Very good. So was this because participant didn't have enough time to view entire matrix? No, because remember, sensory memory can see many things at once. Okay? So what he did was to pair those letters with the tone, okay, the noise. But Sperling showed people can see and recall all the letters momentarily. When you see it, you see all 9 letters. But when you memorize it, you cannot memorize all 9 letters, right? So sounded low, medium, high tone immediately after matrix disappeared. Then recall was almost perfect when it paired with the auditory information, all right? So memory for image fades after 1 out of 3 seconds or so, making report of entire display hard to do. Okay, and I'm going to do the demonstration with that, okay? With this one, I don't have the noise or tone, but you can just see the visual info, okay? So ready? There will be 9 letters for 1 out of 20 seconds. Ready to memorize as many letters as possible? Ready? Yes? Yes. Okay, good. Thank you for saying that. All right, here we go. Yeah. GVU. Maybe you had like 5 letters, right?
No, I had more than that.
More than that? Like, just tell me how.
I can't even remember anymore.
See? Of course, remember when you saw it. Remember when we saw all 9 letters. But when we recall, you don't recall all 9. That's what it is. Because you have only how many seconds? 0.3 seconds for visual info, okay? All right, another one. Ready?
A,
You got 6. Very good. Okay, you got 6 too. Very good. You got 6 too. This one was a little bit better because the second time you're used to it. Okay. Very good. So what letters do you see now?
Why?
Y.
Oh, I don't know what those.
Just guess. That's okay. There is no, right or wrong answers here. You have to guess what letters you see here. C, X, Y, maybe? Okay. Let's do the next one. What letters do you see?
What? I see nothing. I see.
The last one might be
R?
a C. I don't know.
Maybe, right? Because of the shapes.
Yeah, R.
Yeah? Okay. All right.
I don't see nothing. Do you have any letters? You can tell us what they are.
Yep, it's coming. It's just slow here, guys, okay? Uh-oh, what's going on here? The letter was OXT.
Where was O at?
Oh, so O. Like no.
I show you just a sec, okay? It's just slow. So the one you saw first was the blue ones. Remember? The blue dots?
But how are we supposed to know that?
Oh, it's because of the memory. Okay. And then the pink one was the second one that you guessed. Okay. So it was the part of those letters you saw, and you just guessed because of the information you received. Make sense to you? Because memory is receiving the information and then retain it and then retrieve it from the long-term memory. Okay? All right. So sensory memory forms automatically without attention or interpretation, okay? So attention is needed to transfer information to a working memory. Working memory meaning currently working with your brain, right? So you're using your working memory to pay attention to what I'm saying right now, all right? But if I keep asking you, how many memory stores do we have? Then you know the answer, right? How many stores do we have? 3. That means you just thought, you retrieve your information you just learned from me, and then you answered it right. But it was more than 30 seconds after you learned, okay? Meaning it was in the long-term memory already, but you bring it back to your working memory right now. Very good. So working memory store, okay? All right. So function is conscious processing of information. Conscious meaning you're aware, you're paying attention where information is actively worked on. And the capacity is limited, holds only 7 plus minus 2 items. For instance, how many digits do we have for a social security number? 9. It's easier for us to remember 9, okay? How many of numbers do we have for a zip code? 5. Okay. How about our telephone number except the area code? 7. Okay. So those are the numbers it's easier for us to remember. Okay. Duration, brief storage, about 30 seconds. And code often based on sound or speech, even with visual inputs. All right. So what happens if you need to keep information in working memory longer than 30 seconds? Because working memory usual duration is 30 seconds, okay? To demonstrate, memorize the following phone number, presented 1 digit at a time. Ready? Okay, let's do it. All right, what was the number? 857-9163. Very good. Excellent. Everybody got it. That's correct. So the number lasted in your working memory definitely longer than 30 seconds, as you know. So how were you able to remember the number? What did you do? Repeated the numbers in your head, right? Right? Okay. Good. That's called maintenance rehearsal. Okay. What you did is maintenance rehearsal. Mental verbal repetition of information allows information to remain in working memory longer than the usual 30 seconds. What was the number again? 8579163. Very good. That was in your long-term memory already. Excellent. Very good, guys. I love memory chapters. So fun. But what happens? Yes. Yes. You don't have to vocalize the numbers. You can just think in your head. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. You can definitely do that too. Okay. Absolutely. So what happens if you cannot use this maintenance rehearsal? All right. To demonstrate this, okay? Memory decays quickly. Again, memorize a phone number, present it one digit at a time. But this time, you have to count backwards from 1,000 by sevens. 1,000, 1,014, 1,007, 1,993, and so forth. All right? Ready? 2 tasks, okay? Let's do it. All right, did you count the number backwards? 1,012, 1,014, 1,007? Did you count the numbers?
No.
No, you were supposed to do that.
Yeah, right.
Yes. I asked you to memorize the phone number at the same time, count backwards from 1,000 by sevens. You didn't follow my instructions. The point was you cannot use the maintenance rehearsal and you cannot memorize the numbers. That was what it meant. All right? So 2685094, but you shouldn't, memorize all numbers if you're doing the counting the backwards. You cannot just do it. I lost it after first 3. I just couldn't remember because I was counting backwards at the same time. That's what you are supposed to do. Anyway. All right, so with that rehearsal, memory phase, okay? Another one. Test of memory for 3-letter nonsense syllables. What happened was, participant count backwards for a few seconds, then recall, and with that rehearsal, memory faded, okay? So what happens if you need to remember more than 7 plus minus 2 items? To demonstrate, okay, memorize the following 16-digit number, presented 1 digit at a time. Yes. It's not the interference. It's just you cannot use the maintenance rehearsal. It's a different thing. Okay? All right. So to demonstrate, let's memorize the following 16-digit number, okay? All right. Ready? All right. All right. Let's try not to be sidekick too much here, okay? All right. Grouping small bits of information into large unit of information. So you might say first three numbers together, second 3 numbers together. So you chunk the numbers together so you can memorize much easier than just repeating each number, okay? So which one is easier to remember?
The second.
Second one, right? Okay, very good. Passes from sensory to working memory. It can be encoded into long-term memory, okay? So function, okay, organizes and stores information, more passive form of storage than working memory though, because working memory, you're paying attention, consciously trying to retain the information, all right? But long term, it's already stored, so you try to make an effort to bring it back to your consciousness, okay? So unlimited capacity and duration thought by some to be permanent. So once it's in the long-term memory, it never disappears, basically. Okay, that's what people say, or researchers say. All right. So encoding is the process that controls movement from working to long-term memory. You encode the information to your long-term memory, so you don't forget. Then you retrieve the information from long-term to working memory, okay? So retrieval process that controls flow of information from long-term to working memory store. So 3 memory stores, sensory, working, long-term memory, and then we have each different control processes govern movement of information within between the stores, okay? Then, the second one, I have 3 parts here, okay? We have automatic versus effortful encoding, okay? So this one, automatic processing meaning unconscious encoding of information. Unconscious meaning unaware of, right? So examples, what did you eat for lunch today? You haven't eaten lunch yet, but what did you eat for lunch yesterday?
Bread.
Okay, that sounds good too. Anybody remember what you ate? But you don't have to make an effort to remember what you eat because it's not that important, okay? Was the last time you studied during the day or night? Night. Most of you maybe night, right? You know the meanings of these very words you're reading right now. But are you actively trying to process the definition of the words? Of course not. So that's automatic without paying too much attention right here, okay? On the other hand, effortful processing meaning it requires attention and conscious effort. So for example, memorizing your notes for your upcoming introduction to psych exams or quiz. Repeating a phone number in your head until you can write it down, putting it on your cell phone, for instance. So different levels of effortful processing we have, okay? This one will be a little bit difficult because there will be 42 words total, but try to remember as many as words you see, and afterwards you can use the piece of paper to write it down, how many words you can remember. But don't write it down when you see it, okay? But you pay attention, and then after you finish seeing all those 42 words, use the piece of paper to write down the words you remember, okay? Ready? Is the instruction clear now? Okay, don't cheat. Yeah, we're gonna do that. But pay attention to those 42 words you see first, okay?